everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm focusing on Navratri. Now, we all know that Hindus across the world are going to start to celebrate the Hindu festival of Navratri in a couple of days. And this festival is one dedicated to Mother Durga and the other Hindu goddesses. Mother Durga represents what we would call Shakti, or the power or the divine energy. And she also represents conquering good over evil. Before I get into this video, I just wanted to go ahead and thank my sponsors over at Leah's Fashion and Religious House. They're located in Queens, Richmond Hill, New York. I will leave their address and their phone number right here on the screen and in the description box right down below. But I want to thank the staff for always being so helpful, being so attentive to all of the details, and for providing all of these amazing items that you see in this video. They have everything from murtis, decorations, all of the puja items you can need. They have clothing and so much more. Make sure you check them out. They are always willing to help and put a smile on your face and make sure you get exactly what you need. And of course, when you go there, make sure you let them know that Matthew's Guyanese Cooking sent you and that you are there to buy your items for your next puja or your event. Now, during the festival of Navratri, a lot of Guyanese and Caribbean people would do something called Durga Pat. And basically, this type of puja is one that is done to each of the 9 forms of Mother Durga. Now, while some families may do Durga Pat or Durga Puja just by itself, some families will also combine it with all of the other different gods and goddesses in the Hindu religion. The reason why I'm sharing such an in-depth video today is for that reason exactly. During the festival of Navratri, it is said that you can do all of your other pujas and raise the flags of all the other different gods and goddesses. Again, this depends on your family traditions and what it is that you want to do at that time. But I know a lot of you guys do this practice at home and you guys want to see a video on how to set up for all of these other different gods and goddesses. Now, the gods and goddesses that I'm going to be focusing on today are Lord Ganesh, Mother Lakshmi, Mother Saraswati, Lord Krishna, Lord Hanuman. I'm also going to be showing you how to prepare for Lord Shiva Puja, Mother Ganga Puja, Kal Bhairav, as well as Surya. And of course, the main star of the show, Mother Durga Puja. Now, a lot of different families, like I mentioned, will do different combinations of the gods and goddesses. Some might even do more and some might do less. So this is what I'm showing today, and I hope you all enjoy. So you all know that whenever I do any kinds of videos like this, and even in real life, if I was setting up for a puja, I always make all of my sweets and all of my parsads and offerings beforehand. This way you can go ahead and just prepare everything after these things are done. So the first thing I made was some pera, and then I went ahead and I parched my rice flour for my panjari, and panjari is made for Lord Krishna. And then of course I'm making my parsad or mambo. I'm going to end up having a big full video with all of these different sweets that I'm making on my channel very soon, so be on the lookout for it. I'm also preparing my rot for Lord Hanuman Puja, and this right here is a big popular one in my house. Everybody loves it. I'm just frying those away here. And then I'm going to be working on my puri now, because for Durga Puja, you need to have puri and lapsi. That's one of the main offerings. And so I have my puri that I mixed, and I'm just rolling them out. I like to make them pretty small, especially when I'm making them for offerings like this. It just makes them easier to put on the plates and easier to assemble. And I'm going to drop it into my ghee. I'm frying those away. And now I'm making some laddu. And this is a different kind of laddu that I'm making with some besan or chickpea flour, some rice flour, as well as some powdered sugar and some other good stuff. Again, I'll have the recipe on my channel as well very soon. And after I roll those into balls, I'm going to work on my sweet rice. And I'm just finishing it off at this point with some raisins and cherries. All of that is optional, but in my household, we like the raisins and cherries inside. And it's all done here. And at this point, I'm making my lapsi. That was the last thing. I'm parching that flour. And after that, I finished it off with some raisins, and I'm mixing it together very well to get rid of any lumps. So all of my sweets are finished making. I went ahead and I set them off to the side and I covered them very well. And I'm going to go ahead and set those up when I'm done setting up my actual baiti. So I have my baiti here. I filled it with dirt, and under the whole baiti, I have a white sari that I put down. If you want to put a white cloth, a white sheet, just something to cover the entire ground so you could put everything on top of. I also have a structure in the back of the baiti, or a little chowki, and that's where the Mother Durga murti is going to go, just so I have some more space. And I also have 2 structures that I covered with red cloth. That's going to be for the Kal Bhairav as well as for the Surya Puja, and I have some space off to the end for the other puja items. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and wrap Mother Durga in the sari. This is the classic thing that you always see whenever somebody has Durga Pat. You always wrap the sari and then you drape it over the top of Mother Durga's head. So the first thing you basically have to do is take your sari and you have to hold it at one end, and then you have to pleat it with 2 of your fingers, keep on moving it in and out, and when you get the top bunched up, you're going to go ahead and tie it with either a string or you can tie it with a hair tie. So this way it can stay on top of Mother Durga's head. So I have the murti of Mother Durga here, and I went ahead and I put it on top of the sari that I went ahead and I pleated, and I'm going to show you guys how to lay it out very nice so this way it looks neat, and this way you can get those pleats looking inside of it as well. And I'm not a pro at this by any means, but all you really need to do is just sit there and keep on messing with the sari or the cloth that you're using, so this way you can spread it out very well. And this is the reason that we need to spread the sari out. You just want to spread it out enough so this way all of those plates or shares of parsad that you made can fit on top of the sari. The goal here is that you're offering the sari to her as well as all of these different plates of parsad, so that's why we lay them right on top. Once you get Mother Durga draped in the sari and you have that behind the bedi, you're going to work on the dirt portion of the bedi. So I filled up this portion of the bedi with some dirt, and now I'm taking some dried flour and I'm laying it all around the edges of the bedi to line it properly. Once I go ahead and do that, I'm going to make a cross shape. So I'm going to go up and down with the flour, and I'm also going to go from left to right with the flour as well, straight across. And once I do the cross shape up and down and left to right, I'm also going to do 2 diagonal lines. I'm going to go from the top to bottom on one end and the top to bottom on the other end as well. Now this is something that my family and I do when we do puja at home because it represents the 9 planetary deities or the Navgrahas. And basically all of these directions are representing the directions in which the Navgrahas would sit. And once you get this pattern, you're going to go ahead and make an Om in the middle with your dried flour as well. Just make it to the best of your ability. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to be covering this with some colored rice. Now, if you wanted to, you could go ahead and leave the flower design on top of the dirt, and you can just set up your murtis and all of your puja items right on top of that. However, my family, we always like to go ahead and make a nice design with some colored rice. It's optional, it is not mandatory, but it just looks a little bit more presentable. So I'm doing a little bit of a different design today. I'll just keep on going and you guys will see exactly what I'm doing. But I'm putting down some blue rice, I'm putting down some yellow rice. I also went on with a little strip of purple rice in the middle, and then I'm going to go on with some green rice. And I also have some red and dark pink rice that I'm going to go ahead and just mix together on this last piece. You want to make sure that you color just enough rice so this way you can go ahead and make sure it looks full and you don't have too much of that dirt peeking out. And the last thing that I did was I made a nice orange Om to go in the middle. Now, of course, you can do whatever design you want with the colored rice. It is totally up to you. You can definitely have fun with this and make it as decorative as you want. So at this point, I'm going to take you all along the process on how to set up everything onto this bedi now that we've decorated it. The first thing that you want to put on the bedi is 2 lotas that you've filled with water. Now, some people will use these brass lotas like I'm using here, and some people would use the clay kalsas. You can use whichever ones that you want and whichever ones you prefer. In the first one, we're going to go ahead and put a little tari on top, or a little plate or a saucer with some rice inside as well as a diya. And on the other lota that we filled with water, we're also going to go ahead and put a coconut that we've wrapped in some red cloth. Now, some families, whenever they do puja, they will just do the lota with the diya, and some families just do the coconut with the lota. However, in my family, we do both whenever we do our pujas at home. I also wanted to mention that under the coconut wrapped in the red cloth, as well as under the saucer, you want to go ahead and put 5 mango leaves. Now, preferably, you want the mango leaves to be connected together still, but if they're not connected together, it is okay as well. And in the middle of the bedi, in front of those 2 kalsas, you're going to be putting the little cow murti if you have one. If you don't have one, you can use a supari. That is representative of Gau Mata. Now, in the front of the bedi, on the right-hand side, I went ahead and I put Lord Ganesh, and in the middle, I put Mother Lakshmi, as well as Mother Saraswati next to her. And in the back of them, on top, I went ahead and I put Mother Ganga. And on the left-hand side, on the top of the bedi, I will put the Lord Shiva Murti that I have. Now, it is believed that Lord Shiva and Mother Durga represent Shiva Shakti or Shiva and Parvati, and they are a couple, so their puja needs to be done together. That's why we put them closer together on the back of the bedi. And on the left-hand side of the bedi, on the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and put my Lord Krishna and Mother Radha Murti, as well as my Lord Hanuman Murti. Now, my Pandit was telling me that whenever you're doing Lord Hanuman Puja, as well as a Lord Krishna Puja or Vishnu or Ram, they all need to be in the same vicinity next to each other. That's why we put the Lord Krishna next to the Hanuman. Now, as you all can see, I have a little structure next to my main bedi on the left-hand side, and I covered it with some red cloth. This is for Kal Bhairav. Now, for anyone who doesn't know who Kal Bhairav is, he is a form of Lord Shiva, and it is believed whenever you do Mother Durga Puja, he is called a protector of Durga Ma's Puja. So you need to do his puja and give him an offering as well. I will mention that some families do give him an offering and some do not when they do Durga Puja. But the reason I put him here is because depending on the offerings you give him, it might be more, it might be less. So you want to make sure he has his own space for everything to fit in front of him as well. You're also going to see that in the back of the deity, I have another little wooden structure that I've covered with some red cloth as well. And this is where I'm going to be putting my Surya Murti. Now, the reason why I'm putting the Surya Murti in the back here is because, again, I wanted to give him his own space. And in the front, you're also going to see that I have a foil tray that I have some dirt inside. This is where we're going to set up all of the different grains and those items so you can raise those little tiny flags for the Navgrahas or the planetary deities. And now that I've set up all the murtis on the deity, I'm going to go ahead and start working on the parsad or the plates or the offerings that we're going to be putting in front of each of the deities. So in these little plates here, I'm going to be showing you how to prepare the Mother Durga offering. Now, whenever you're offering to Mother Durga for a Durga Pat or a puja in this form, you would be making 9 separate plates. Each one of them is for each of Mother Durga's forms. So in each of these plates, we would put a pair of puris that we made, and you just want to either put them flat or you can fold them over. But I put them flat. I'm putting a little dollop of sweet rice or kheer. I'm putting a little dollop of lapsi. And I'm also going to be going in with a little spoonful of parsad. Now, of course, you can put in as much or as little as you want. And of course, you can just do lapsi if you want, or you can do all 3 like I do. This is my family's tradition. A lot of people do it this way, but a lot of people also just put the lapsi inside. I'm also going to go in with 1 pera. And now I'm going to go ahead and add in some different fruits. What I'm using today is very simple. I'm going in with a slice of apple. I'm going to be going in with a slice of cucumber. And I'm also going to add in a slice of banana. If you have grapes, you can put that in. If you have pomegranate seeds, you can add that. You can add in any types of fruits that you have that you want to use. And the last thing that I'm going to do is go ahead and adorn it with a flower as well as a neem leaf. Whenever you're doing Durga Puja, neem leaves are heavily used. And of course, usually yellow or red flowers would be used. Now, these are the 9 different plates for each of the 9 forms of Mother Durga. When we put it on the deity, each one will get a coin. Each one will also get a diya on top. And that 10th plate in the back with the red flower, that one is for Kal Bhairav. Whenever you do Mother Durga Puja, you have 9 chairs for her forms, and you have an extra for Kal Bhairav. And now at this point, I'm going to be working on the 2 plates for Mother Lakshmi and Mother Saraswati because they're both going to look exactly the same. Now, into each of these plates or the taris, I'm going to go ahead and put in a pair of puris. And I'm going to add in a little spoonful of kheer or sweet rice, some halwa or some lapsi, as well as some parsad. And I'm going to do that for both. Like I said before, some people just do parsad, some people just do sweet rice, some people just do lapsi. It totally depends on your traditions and what it is that you're going to make for your puja that day. And into each one of these offering plates, I'm going to add in a pera. I'm also going to go in with a slice of cucumber, a slice of banana, a slice of apple. And of course, if you wanted to, you could fold the puris over or you could leave it open face like this. I prefer to do it this way because it looks nicer in my opinion, but do it whichever way you prefer. And in each of those plates, I'm going to be going in with the neem leaf. And for Mother Lakshmi, I'm going to be going in with the pink flower. And for Mother Saraswati, I'll be going in with the white flower. You can use the colors that correspond with them, or you can use whatever colors you can find. And at this point, I'm going to make a plate for Mother Ganga as well. She's another one of the Hindu goddesses. And into this plate, I put my parsad, my puri, my lapsi, my sweet rice, a pera, a piece of cucumber, a piece of banana, a piece of apple as well, and I also put a yellow flower for her. And for Mother Ganga, I'm going to be going in with a lime as well on top of her parsad. The next offering plate that we're going to prepare is for Lord Hanuman, and into his tari, I'm going to go ahead and add in my rot. This is the main star of the show whenever you're giving him an offering. Now you can either put 3, 5, or 7 rots. Some people even do more, but it's usually an odd number. And I'm also going to be going in with a slice of banana, some cucumber as well. I added in an apple and I put in some parsad, and I'm going to be going in with a lot of pera. Now, whenever you're making offerings to each of these gods and goddesses, you can mix it up. You can add in whatever you want as long as they're going to get that sweet that they would normally get, like the rot for Hanuman. I'm also going to top his with a red flower. And later you're going to see that I put a piece of tulsi on top as well. The next offering I'm going to work on is the one for Lord Krishna. And into my tari, I'm going to be going in with a pair of puris that I've stuffed with some sweet rice. The only reason I'm really putting this in here is because my murti has Radha and Krishna. And being that she's one of the goddesses, we usually put a little something like sweet rice or lapsi or anything like that into the tari as well. And into the tari, I'm also going to add in a nice mound of parsad. I'm going to be adding in my little piece of cucumber, a chunk of apple, as well as a chunk of banana. And I'm also going to be going in with some peras in the middle right there. And in that last spot in the middle, I'm going to be putting a good amount of panjari. Now, panjari is the thing that you would usually make for Lord Krishna. It is basically rice flour that is parched with anise seeds as well as some sugar. And that is what's usually served under the parsad at Hindu functions. So we're going to put a lot of that in the middle for him. And this is what the tari, or the offering for Lord Krishna, looks like. I topped it off with the white flour as well as the tulsi leaf. And the same way I made the tari for Lord Krishna, I'm going to make the same exact tari for Lord Surya. The next tari that we're going to work on is for Lord Shiva. So in my tari, I'm going to go ahead and add in a nice mound of parsad. I'm also going to be going in with a piece of banana, a piece of cucumber, as well as a piece of apple. And Lord Shiva's main offering, of course, is pera. That's what we usually make for him. So I'm going to go in with a nice mound of pera into that tari. And usually when you do Lord Shiva Puja, you need to put in some pomegranate or anar. And some people would put this whole, and some people also peel it. We usually peel it. But whichever way you want to put it on the tari, you can definitely do that. And usually I would put sugar cane, but I could not find any sugar cane to put in my tari today. But if you are doing your actual puja at home, you should try to source it and put it in. And for his tari, I'm going to go ahead and put in a bay leaf as well as some purple flowers. That's the color that my family and I use for him. Some families do peach, some do green, blue, white, many different colors for him, but do it based on your own tradition. And the last offering that I'm going to be preparing is the one for Lord Ganesh. So into this tari, all I'm going to be putting is my laddu that I made. You saw me mixing this earlier in the video, and like I said, I'll be sharing a recipe for this on my channel very soon. But this is basically what they look like after I rolled them up and I let them harden up a bit. And I'm going to be putting 21 laddu into this tari. I like to go ahead and stack them up very nicely and then adorn it with some flowers on the side. Now, of course, sometimes we would put in some parsad, sometimes we would put in some pera, but today I'm just doing it very simply and doing it how I would usually do it with just the laddus. So at this point, since we prepared all of our different offerings and our parsads, we're going to go ahead and put them down on the Bedi in front of each of the respective gods and goddesses. So in front of Lord Krishna and Mother Radha, we're going to go ahead and put the tari with that panjari and the parsad. In front of Hanuman, we would put his rot. And of course, this is not an actual puja that I'm doing today. I'm just showing you guys where things would go. Of course, when your priest comes, you would lay everything down exactly how he or she would say to do so. So you can go ahead and wait for that. But I'm just putting everything down now to show you guys where it would go. And in front of Lord Shiva, we'll put in that tari with all of the pera, the pomegranate. And of course, if you had sugarcane, you'd put that there as well. And in front of Mother Ganga, we'd also put her offering. That was the lapsi, the puri, and everything else with the lime in it as well. And some people, whenever they do Mother Ganga Puja, they will also take out 7 shares of lapsi and puri for her. And that's because there are 7 different holy rivers in the Hindu religion, and she is one of them. But, of course, we're doing the simple offering today. That's why I'm only putting in 1 share for her. And now for the main star of the show, or the Durga Pat, or the real part of the Navratri Puja, we're going to be putting all of the different parsads in front of Mother Durga. Like I said, you're going to have 9 shares or 9 plates or taris of that parsad that we prepared in front of her. Now, depending on the size of your Bedi and what space you have to work with, you should get some taris or plates or saucers according to that size. And of course, you should go ahead and add in enough fruits or sweets depending on the size as well. And in front or right next to Lord Surya, you will go ahead and put his parsad as well. It was basically the exact same as Lord Krishna with the panjari inside as well. And in front of Lord Ganesh, Mother Lakshmi, and Mother Saraswati, I put their parsads as well. And now in front of each one of the gods and goddesses, in front of their plate of parsad or within the plate of parsad, you're going to go ahead and add in a diya that you filled with ghee, which has a wick. Now everybody has a different tradition on this. My priest will go ahead and take a diya and put it on top of the parsad and light it when you're offering it. Some priests do not do this. It depends on your own traditions and your priest's reasonings for doing so. So go ahead and do that accordingly, but whenever I prepare for puja, I always have an extra diya for each one of the gods and goddesses to put on their parsad. And of course, this is where the Kalbairam Murti is. I'm going to go ahead and have his parsad in front of him as well as a diya. And we're just putting a diya on top of Lord Surya's parsad as well. And at this point, you're also going to see me laying diyas in front of Lord Shiva. And I'm going to put them in each one of the 9 plates that are in front of Mother Durga. Whenever you're doing her offerings, not only does each of her 9 forms each get a plate, but they will also each get a diya inside. So this way you can light it when you're offering. Each one of them also gets a coconut, including Kalbairo, so 10 coconuts. and some people do water and dried coconuts, a nutmeg, as well as some lime. Whenever you're doing Mother Durga Puja like this, you would be raising 9 little tiny flags off to the side of the baby, and each one of these flags and colors represents a form of Mother Durga. Now these are the colors that my family and I uses, and again we have our own reasonings, we have our own priests that are telling us these colors and what we know and what we grew up learning. However, a lot of families follow different colors, but those are not the colors that I use. I use 2 red, 2 yellow, 2 white, 1 black, 1 green, 1 blue, and those are my colors that I use. Some people end up using pink, some use purple, orange, all kinds of different colors. You would have to consult your priest for that. But I like to set this up in a foil tray that I filled up with some dirt, and then I'll lay the rice on top after I've scored it. For the Mother Durga on the right hand side of the baby, I'm going to go ahead and put her little tray filled with her rice and her colors, and I'm going to put those flags on top as well. Like I mentioned, I use 2 red, 2 yellow, 1 blue, 2 white, 1 green, and 1 black flag. You can use the colors that your priest tells you and as per your own traditions. And you're also going to see that in front of Lord Surya, I went ahead and I put a little foil tray filled with some dirt as well as the different respective grains that are used for him during his puja. The reason why I put those there is because whenever you do puja like this, you would be raising the 9 separate flags representative of the Navgrahas as well. They have their own colors, their own kinds of grains, and I will insert them on the screen here with the orientation you would have to drop them in. And now that everything is set up on the baby for the most part, we're going to take out all of the sarjam or the puja materials that we'd be using. Now into these little cups that I have in this big tari here, I'm going to go ahead and put in my gugel or frankincense. I'm going to be putting in some cloves. I'm also going to fill one with some supari or betel nuts. I'm going to fill one with some sindoor, and I'm also going to have some camphor off to the side. And it's very helpful if you go ahead and you crush this up before the puja starts, so this way you don't have to do it during. And I will add in chandan into one. I will put turmeric or dye or haldi into one. And in the other one, I will put some elaichi or cardamom pot. And of course, you would have your hawan samagri, your dupe or your wooden sticks, as well as some attar or perfume off to the side as well. All of those would be used during the puja. And during any puja, of course, you need a lot of agarbatti or incense. And everything here is just about keeping everything accessible and everything handy. Make sure you have everything so this way during your puja, you're not calling for everybody around you to go find things to bring to your puja place. And this right here is my Durga Dar. If you go to Leah's Fashion and Religious House, they sell the Durga Dar in a package. All you need to do is add in your milk, your water, and honey or whatever other ingredients that you needed to add in. And I went ahead and I mixed it and I'm putting them into some little lotas, and I'm going to put each of these 10 lotas in front of each of Mother Durga's 9 plates, as well as the one for Kalbairo. Some people would just go ahead and put it in a big mug, and every time they do the balidan or the chopping of the coconuts, they would just pour a little bit from that one big mug. However, I wanted to go ahead and show you guys today a different way to do it, and you could put them in these little tiny lotas and offer it that way. Into each one of these, I'm putting in a red carnation flower as well as a neem. I will mention I have a video on my channel on how to make Durga Dar from scratch if you do not want to go ahead and buy the pre-made mix. And like I said before, each one of these little lotas that I filled with the dar, you're going to put one in front of Kalbairo, and you're going to put one next to each of the plates that you made for Mother Durga. So you need 10 in total. I also wanted to show you some of the other items that you would need for this puja. Of course, if you were raising all of the different respective flags for each one of these gods and goddesses, you would have them laid out on the side. I put the orange one for Ganesh, the yellow for Durga, the yellow for Ganga, the pink for Lakshmi, white for Surya, white for Mother Saraswati, purple for Lord Shiva, red for Hanuman, and a white for Lord Krishna. Some people use different colors for Shiva. Some people also use a red instead of white for Surya, and some people also use a white instead of yellow for Mother Ganga. Whenever you're doing this kind of puja here with all of these different gods and goddesses, some people might even raise a big flag for Kalbairo instead of a little one, and some people also do Mother Kali Puja, some people also do Lord Vishnu Puja. It just depends on the combination of gods and goddesses that you are worshipping at the time. Now in front of the baby here, one of the last sets of things I'm going to put down is the stuff for the Shiva Lingam Puja. This is in combination with Lord Shiva Puja. I have my ghee, my Ganga Jal, coconut water, my sugarcane juice, some honey, as well as some milk. I also have a little cup of sugar water, and I have a little cup of dahi or yogurt as well. Now these are the items I use. I'll have them listed on the screen here. And one of the last things that I'm going to be doing is putting down all of the coconuts that you would use for the Balidan for the Mother Durga Puja. Now, Balidan, what it basically means, it is a symbolic sacrifice. And during the puja, you would chop these coconuts, you would chop the limes in half, and you would chop a nutmeg in half as well. Now, basically what this represents is the breaking of ego, the breaking of evil, and there's so many other meanings and so many other technicalities with this. It's actually a very nice story, but we can make a whole separate video on that. But basically, in front of every coconut, I'm putting a lime and I'm putting a nutmeg. You're going to need 9 of them for each of Mother Durga's forms. And we're panning out to the area where we had Kalbairo. He also gets his own coconut and he also gets a lime as well as a nutmeg. Now, some people, when they do Durga Pat, they chop 1 coconut only for the whole puja. And some people will do all 10. Some people also only do 9 if they're not doing the Kalbairo part. It totally depends on the way that you are doing it. And before I forget, right next to Lord Ganesh, you would need to go ahead and put a little pan leaf and you would cut off the tip of the pan leaf as well as the stem. And whenever you use the pan leaves in any part of the puja, you would need to cut off the stem and the tip as well. But I'm going to go ahead and put that down. And on top of it, I'm also going to put in a supari or a betel nut. Some people would even mix a ball of haldi or dye or turmeric with a little bit of water and make a ball out of that and put it down there as well. This is for the Ganesh Gauri Puja that happens in the beginning stages of the puja as well. So now that everything is on the Bedi, everything is set up and everything is where it should be if you were doing an actual puja in your home for Navratri, I'm going to go ahead and light up all of the diyas on each one of the parsads. I lit up all 9 of them for Mother Durga. I lit up the one by Mother Ganga. I'm also going to light up the ones in front of Lord Ganesh, Mother Lakshmi, Mother Saraswati, Lord Hanuman, Lord Shiva, Surya, Kalbairo. All of the diyas on this Bedi, I'm going to go ahead and light them. I want to thank you all for watching this video today. I hope you all learned something new. And for everybody that is going to be doing their Navratri pujas in their home very soon, or if you are a person that does Durga Pat in general, I wanted to go ahead and wish you all luck. I hope your pujas go smoothly. And I want to thank you all for giving me this chance to teach you all a little bit of my knowledge and what my family does with each and every one of you. I want to thank my sponsors over at Leah's Fashion and Religious House in Queens, New York. I'm going to have their number as well as their address linked right up here on the screen and in the description box right below the video. I want to thank them for providing all of these beautiful murtis, all of the beautiful items, the sarjam, and all of the extras and necessities that were needed for this puja. They have everything under the sun. They have outfits, decorations, murtis, puja items, clothing, whatever you could want, and they do it with a smile on their face. Make sure you give them a visit. Tell them that Matthew's Guyanese Cooking sent you. And I wish each and every one of you, regardless if you are Hindu or not, a beautiful and blessed, happy Navratri. And I want to thank you all for the love, the support, and allowing me to share a piece of my culture with you all. I'll see you all again very soon in my next set of videos. Bye, everyone.